The democratized AI backend, why default AI becomes the next browser war. Summary statement. The decisive battle in AI will not be won by the company with the largest infrastructure footprint, but by whoever controls the default routing layer between user, model, and memory. As compute trends toward commoditization and agentic AI unlocks synthetic labor at scale, the structural question becomes whether the stack remains vertically integrated under hyperscaler control or is decoupled to preserve user sovereignty, enterprise privacy, and competitive innovation at the cognitive frontier. Section 1. Introduction. Reframing the AI battle. Most commentary frames the AI race as model versus model, GPT versus Claude, United States versus China, bigger versus smarter. That framing is incomplete. The real contest is over routing and memory. Who controls the default interface through which intelligence is accessed, and who retains the historical context that compounds into advantage. This is not just a model war, it is a browser war in disguise. In the 1990s, the browser became the choke point for the web. Whoever controlled the default search box shaped the flow of information, monetization, and power. Today, the equivalent primitive is default AI. Whoever owns the highlight to ask pathway controls the funnel between user and cognition. Section 2. The current stack architecture. To understand what's at stake, we need to map the stack. The 5 layers of the AI stack. First, the hardware layer, chips, power, data centers. Second, the cloud layer, orchestration of compute at scale. Third, the model layer, large language models, multimodal systems, agent frameworks. Fourth, the interface layer, web applications, operating system hooks, embedded copilots. Fifth, the memory layer, persistent user or enterprise data. Right now, hyperscalers are expanding vertically across all 5. Google builds tensor processing units, runs massive data centers, trains models, embeds AI into Chrome and Android, and controls user routing. Microsoft integrates Azure, Copilot, Windows, and enterprise tooling. Amazon provides compute infrastructure while positioning itself in model orchestration. This vertical expansion is not accidental. It is a strategy of sovereignty: reduce dependency, capture margin, control distribution. But vertical integration carries risks: capital intensity, debt exposure, strategic overextension. Section 3. The commodity compute argument. Compute, historically, behaves like a commodity over time. Bandwidth commoditized, cloud storage commoditized, semiconductors diffuse geographically, energy is globally distributed. Constraint also drives innovation. Chinese AI labs facing hardware sanctions optimized efficiency, improving architectural techniques, advancing reasoning frameworks, maximizing compute aggregation. Efficiency gains like sparsity, distillation, and mixture of experts reduce brute force dependence. If compute becomes broadly accessible and general-purpose infrastructure is good enough for most cognitive workloads, then the durable moat shifts upward. Not to hardware, to know-how, to architecture, to orchestration. Infrastructure becomes defensive. Cognition becomes offensive. Section 4. The agentic inflection point. The next phase of AI is not better chat. It is agentic systems capable of synthetic labor. Multiple agents, decomposing tasks, coordinating tools, persisting memory, self-correcting errors, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week across workflows. This is SLAM, synthetic labor and automated manpower. White-collar domains alone represent trillions in total addressable market. Law, accounting, compliance, research, administration, operations. If agentic AI becomes reliable at scale, value migrates decisively to the cognitive layer. And the winner will not be whoever owns the most racks. It will be whoever solves orchestration. This content is brought to you by Bobby Giggs. Promote your brand here and reach a wide audience across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow the links in the description to get started. Section 5. Enterprise as the decisive market. Consumer novelty generates headlines. Enterprise adoption generates revenue. Enterprise demands data sovereignty, auditability, clear liability, memory isolation, no training leakage. No serious corporation will allow proprietary data to flow through opaque, ad-driven backends. Trust is non-negotiable, which means backend visibility and memory ownership become decisive. Section 6. The choke point problem. The most powerful layer in the stack is not hardware. It is the default routing layer. Who controls the operating system level hook? Who controls the Enterprise Application Programming Interface Gateway? Who controls the Highlight to Ask shortcut? Who controls the persistent memory store? Google dominated search not because it owned fiber cables, but because it controlled the search box. If hyperscalers own routing and memory, cognitive breakthroughs risk capture through distribution leverage. That is the choke point risk. Section 7. The case for decoupling the stack. A decoupled architecture separates power. Infrastructure competes on price and reliability. Model labs compete on intelligence and orchestration. Interfaces become model agnostic. Memory remains user or enterprise owned. The structural mechanism is simple. Default AI as a system primitive. Users and enterprises choose their model provider. Memory stays portable. Switching costs drop. Competition increases at the cognitive layer. This is not anti-infrastructure. Infrastructure is necessary. It carries the capital burden, but it must remain neutral. Just as telecom separated content from transport, AI may require separation of cognition from routing and memory. Section 8. Focus versus sprawl. Two archetypes are emerging. The integrated stack builder expands vertically, controls distribution, pursues sovereignty. The cognitive specialist focuses on frontier research, optimizes architecture and reasoning, prioritizes product utility over empire building. Anthropic exemplifies focused frontier cognition. Perplexity exemplifies interface layer clarity and rejection of ad-driven distortion. They represent a different philosophy in the stack. Focus over sprawl, intelligence over infrastructure theater, application over empire. Infrastructure will matter, but history suggests that gold rushes reward the most efficient operators after consolidation, not the ones who built the most overlapping assets. Section 9. How this could end. Several plausible futures exist. 1. Full vertical consolidation under a handful of integrated giants. 2. Market-driven decoupling through open standards and enterprise demand. 3. Regulatory intervention forcing separation of layers. 4. A cognitive breakthrough, agentic orchestration that shifts power upward irreversibly. The decisive variable is not compute. It is control of routing and memory. Section 10. Conclusion. Funnel versus freedom. The AI era will not be defined solely by parameter counts or capital expenditure. It will be defined by whether intelligence remains competitive and portable or becomes vertically captured behind distribution choke points. If we fail to decouple the stack, AI becomes the next billboard. If we succeed, AI becomes a user and enterprise-controlled layer of cognition where frontier innovation thrives and synthetic labor scales responsibly. The coming fight is not model versus model. It is funnel versus freedom, and the default AI setting may determine the future of the entire stack.